Hello, this is Frank DiMora with the Last Chronicles in Planet Earth, and if you just discovered my YouTube channel, please go up and you'll see my site here, BibleProphecyMan.com. If you want to download my book today for free, just go to my link and right there, click that link, and you can get the book for free today. I'm going to get right into some prophecies for March the 27th, 2012. Now I'm going to start off with the book of Revelation, and you'll see all the scriptures right here. And if you're new to my site, you'll notice that I always give the scriptures and then I'll bring the connection in between the current events. Now when you read all of these scriptures, they all pertain to the mark of the beast, or in hunting the people down who have been left after the rapture of the church. But we do know that there's a man coming. This man is called the Antichrist, and he is going to put a mark, as you see in Revelation chapter 13 here. That mark will be put in the right hand or in the forehead. And this is to pay homage to the Antichrist. And also, we know those who take this mark are, it's a symbolism of them worshiping the Antichrist. But look what the Lord tells us. He causes all, both small and great, rich or poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. Say he that had the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of the name, hears wisdom. Let him hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. So we know that the Antichrist is going to stop people from buying or selling. And so we also know through this that during the last days, obviously the Antichrist will be tracking anybody who doesn't have this mark and hunting them down. We know this because we see it in Revelation 24, where the people who do not have this and refuse to bow down to his image, like I said, in homage of worship to him, they will be beheaded, as we read in Revelation 24. So I've been showing you in many places in my book, and this is something new that just came up, and I want to relate this news to you. And you'll see it here. The Brazilian, let me just go right to the article. Hopefully my internet will connect pretty fast. Ooh, thank you, Lord. That's pretty good. So you scroll up here and you'll see it. It says the Brazilian school children forced to wear tracking chips in or to combat truancy. And this is what it looks like. And the article goes on to say, those who worry about technology eroding human rights have long predicted that it's only a matter of time until the person's every movement is tracked by authorities. And now that time has come, with 20,000 Brazilian school children being chipped. Now in my book, I warned that there's a day coming where you'll start to see that this kind of technology will be mandatory, and we're starting to see it crop up. And here's another prime example with 20,000 Brazilian children being chipped, following them around. It says children up to the age of 14 have had electronic chips implanted in their uniforms in northeastern city of Victoria del Conquista. Authorities say that the tracking devices will provide an easy way to combat truancy. Now, take it one step further. This same kind of device can be used to track anybody. But we do know from the book of Revelation that some kind of technology will be placed in the person's forehead or in their right hand. And they can be tracked, monitored. And so we're living in the last days, and there's no doubt in my mind that this generation is seeing the road to fulfilling Revelation chapter 13 that discusses for us the mark of the beast, 666. So you'll see more about this in the near future, and I will keep bringing it up at my site as soon as I get this information, as soon as it is made available. All right, now I want to turn to another prophecy. You'll see it says the plagues or pestilence. We see, for example, in Luke 21, it talks about the pestilence, and it could be disease and pestilence from animals. And a good way to see this, for those who are new to Bible prophecy, you can always, there's places where you can see the different, what is it talking about when it's talking about plagues and pestilence. When Egypt, when Moses was taking the people through, we see that there was 10 plagues on Egypt before Pharaoh let them go. And you'll see them named through here, and you'll see that there was frogs, the pestilence of lice and flies, livestock died, there was boils, thunders, locusts, and so there's many different forms of this pestilences. So let's go back and again hit on where I left off. So let's take a look right here. You'll see it says the giant 9-pound Gambian rats invading Florida Keys. I want you to take a look at this. This is pretty interesting. I want to show you some pictures of the size of these things. They're pretty big. It says, when it comes to the giant rat infestations, New York gets all the attention, but a breed of the giant Gambian rats has been rapidly reproducing in Florida Keys despite a decade-long effort to wipe them out. KeysNet reports the invasion African native species first began showing up between 1999 and 2001 after a local exotic animal breeder released 8 of the rats into the wild. Go on here, it says, we thought we had whipped as of 2009, so it's got hidden. Exotic Speedy Coordinator, Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. We think that we have not moved far, but clearly reproduced, he said. So these rats are spreading, and one of the things that I noticed in the article was talking about the worry that they're going to wipe out the food. It says the rodents officially known as the Gambian rats, poached rat, are the largest known breed of rats in the world, and they can grow up to 3 feet in length and weigh as much as 9 pounds. Wildlife officials fear that if the rodents make it to the Florida mainland, they could devastate local crops. So they got a problem with this, and we do know that the Lord said that we were going to have pestilence and plagues, and yeah, this is one section that I don't have in my book, and because my book is so thick right now, I didn't want the added expense to put this in the book. But I do call and I talk about it as much as I can and bring up the pestilences like you see here as much as I can at my site. So that's just one example. I mean, I'm sure that if you go into Google and you do pestilence, insect invasions and whatnot, you'll see that. Now, when I do give my live presentations, I have a section, a folder that I discuss, and I show you all the events that are taking place with the pestilences and sicknesses and whatnot. All right, so let's go to another prophecy. Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 through 12, address the Christian persecution. And obviously, we've been seeing a lot of escalation on attacks on Christians. And here is one. We'll go right to the site. And this is, again, you'll see the date, March 27th. From the Worthy News, Islamic militants with ties to terror groups and Al-Qaeda have launched the ethnic cleansing of minority Christians in Syria, forcing tens of thousands of people to flee the embattled Syrian city of Homs and other areas, aid workers confirmed. Now, this isn't the only place that this is taking place. There was another article that came out. We'll go to this article. I'll move it up for you. In Burma's military ransacked a Baptist church. and broke up a Christian conference of a predominantly Christian Chin community in the latest confrontation between government forces and ethnic minorities, Christian investigators told Worthy News. So there's continuing attacks on the Lord's church in different areas around the world, and this is going to get a lot worse the closer we get to the tribulation period. And of course, it will max out during the reign of the Antichrist, when the Antichrist goes after all of the people who do not take the mark of the beast and refuse to worship him. Now let's go down to Zechariah 12:3, because Zechariah 12:3 shows all the nations in the last days, obviously, will be coming against Israel. Now, here's a good example. I'll give you two examples of it in the news today. And again, if you go to my book, you're going to see a lot of information about this, because I add it as much as I can to the site. Let me scroll down as soon as it allows me. There you go. One of the nation's oldest, largest food co-ops holding vote on banning Israeli products. It says New York Park Slope Food Co-op, one of the oldest and the biggest of its kind, is holding a vote Tuesday to determine whether it will hold a referendum on boycotting goods from Israel. The New York Post explains. Some anti-Israeli members want products made in Israel off whoops, sometimes this happens. I hate when that happens. People try to get advertisements, but attending Brooklyn Food Cooperative shelves in protest of that country's occupation of the Palestinian territories. I don't really need to say any more than that, is because the peace process that has failed has caused more conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis. And of course, this is in accordance to what we know from what Paul said and what Zechariah said, because Zechariah said everybody's going to come against Israel in the last days, and Paul told us that when they're calling for peace and safety, an attack will be coming. So we see evidence of the not only the peace process falling apart, and that will lead to war, but also people abandoning Israel one at a time. Here's another one. Let me go to that. Hopefully we won't get any more advertisements here, but here's the article. It says the Israeli flags burnt in Morocco rally. Organizers claim 100,000 people took part in the Land Day rally in Rabat, protested participation of Israeli diplomat in the Euromed meeting. So, and then there is a video here that when you go to the site, I'll just hit it and see what we got. There's no question that God hit it right on the head for us. We are seeing the nations come against Israel in the last days. So that is a look at Zechariah. How we're going to move down as soon as I get back to it here. We'll move back and go into another prophecy, Psalm 83. Now this is a war that I've been posting almost every day now, because we're seeing news every day that points to the coming war, the Psalm 83 war. Now today, I got a question that was emailed to me, and this is the question. So how does the Bible say the war goes? What happens? Who wins? Is this all prior to the Antichrist takeover? Info, please. And so if you don't know about the Psalm 83 war, this is probably going to be the next war that will be fought. These are the nations who will be fighting against Israel in the last days, and these are the modern day names for those Old Testament names. Now, we do know Psalm 83, and I recommend that you read Psalm 83, because in that psalm it shows that these nations come down against Israel in the last days they'll confer with each other. They'll have they'll commence and come up with a plan to try to destroy Israel, so that her name isn't mentioned anymore. And then we do know that Israel will not be defeated, and we believe that this will happen at a time that, and it will also fulfill what Paul said: when they're calling for peace and safety, sudden destruction will come. And again, all of these prophecies are intermingled. We see Zechariah 12:3 with Paul's warning about the call for peace and safety in Thessalonians. So the Antichrist will not show up at this war. He will show up at a later date after he confirms a covenant with many for 7 years, as it says in Daniel 9:27. So that should answer your question. Now, Israel, I believe, is going to be attacked soon, and there's some evidence of that I need to bring up to your attention, because we really need to be praying for Israel for the next couple of days, and I'll show you why. We go right to the article. Now, sometimes when I get to this site, I normally get ads, and I hope we don't get them here, but let me see if I can scroll down and get you that information. Here we go. It says, next escalation in the Gaza will be more violent. And this is a warning that there's a march that's going to take place in a few days. Actually, today's the 27th, and it's going to happen on the 30th. It says the next confrontation between Israel and the Palestinian terror organizations in the Gaza Strip will be more violent than previous rounds. This is a warning that's coming out from the public secretary minister there in Israel. And of course, it shows, if you've been coming to my site, I've been telling you, just seems like for years, that don't expect the Palestinians or those coming against Israel in Gaza and Lebanon and these other areas that are mentioned in the Psalm 83 to stop sending rockets into Israel, because they have a charter that says that there's calling for the destruction of Israel, and they're not stopping. And here's another example of that, because it says 5 consecutive days of rocket fire. And this is coming on just a few days before this march that's going to be taking place against Israel in the last days. So we really need to be praying for Israel at this time, because the Lord told us, if you love the Lord, he said, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Right now, there is no peace of Jerusalem. Now, when will this peace of Jerusalem come? It's going to come when Jesus Christ walks through the east gate, takes a seat in Jerusalem, and reigns, to begin to reign for 1,000 years. Israel will have their peace. Now, let me go back here and give you a little bit more information about what's going to take place in the near future here. So let me go here. This is another article about this march. And notice, as soon as I scroll it up so you can see it on my screen, the Times of Israel, and this is current, March the 27th. It says 2 million set for march on Jerusalem, Friday organizer claims. Israel has urged neighboring states not to let participants reach its borders. And obviously, it's something that they're going to try to do. 2 million Arabs and international protests will march toward the borders of Israel to take part of the activities designed to highlight Jerusalem's Arab character on Friday, the event organizer claims. So 2 million people, that's a lot of people that are going to be ascending on Israel, and I really believe that there's going to be a good possibility that there's going to be a lot of violence. And there may even be the possibility that this is how the Psalm 83 war may ignite, because the nations who are coming are those nations, let me click to another article here for you, are the nations, the exact nations that are listed. Here, you want a car? No, sorry about that, folks, but that's what happens when you go right to their sites. But those are the exact same nations that are listed in the Psalm 83. And here's another one. Palestinians defend Israeli Arab Earth Day disorders Friday. Damascus to pitch in. Now, a few days ago, we saw news that Damascus or the Syrians wouldn't go in because they were too busy fighting against themselves. But as of today, March 27th, it looks like the Israelis are going to have problems with the Syrians as well. And so now we added another nation in the list of the Psalm 83. It says Israel's warning to its Arab neighbors and the Palestinian Authority to curb violent assaults on its border on the annual Israeli Arab Earth Day March, or Friday, March 30th, have fallen on deaf ears. So again, this is going to be a real important day to be watching what's going on. And if it doesn't turn into the Psalm 83 war, it certainly will be one giant step to the fulfillment of that war. And I really believe also that when they go in, if Israel does repel all of these people that are coming, that it will just give added ammunition to the world to come against Israel, as Israel is always being painted in a negative light through the media. So that's something that you should be looking for as well. It says prophecy sign Matthew 24 verses 6 through 7. You'll see signs of wars and rumors of wars. And speaking of Syria, I just wanted to give you some information about that, because the Syrian problem is fulfilling prophecy in that they are going against themselves. Let me as soon as I roll up here. And it's kingdom against kingdom, in this case Syrians against the Syrians. Syria accepts ceasefire fighting, enters Lebanon. Assad's troops push into North Lebanon to hit rebels. Anon says, and the Syrian reply to peace plan is positive. And so we have the skirmishes that are continuing on. And of course, when they're moving in closer to Lebanon, Lebanon is one of those nations that are becoming against Israel. And so, I mean, it's just a mess over there in the Middle East. But one thing is for sure, it's all leading and all fulfilling Bible prophecy. Now, another interesting look at prophecy is the intense heat. Now I'm going to give you all the scriptures here. When you go to my site, you'll be able to read all of the scriptures that talk about what the sun is going to do in the last days. Obviously, it's going to cause famines. It's going to cause droughts, intense heat. It says that. And these are only a few of the scriptures that I highlighted for you. But let's go in and look at the news here. When you go to the news, to my site, you will click on this and you will see that the drought moves more cattle to the feedlots. And this is an article that has to do with the huge drought that has been affecting the cattle ranchers, and the land is drying up, and so they're moving more cattle. They're selling more cattle, and of course this is going to affect the farmers and no doubt rise the price of beef. Now when you go to my site also, you can click on this because it has to do with the weather. And this was amazing because I have a section in my book that I've been tracking for a very, very long time, and the weather is certainly changing faster than most people think. But when you look at the evidence, there is no question that things have definitely changed. Now it's taken a while for this to load, but let me go over here. This is a site that shows us how many heat records were broken. It's hard to see, but 6,000 weather records were broken, and it gives you a list here, and it breaks down all of the places, and it gives you all the stats. You see it here, the number of records, and on the left-hand side, the month and the date for it. So huge news, because we're definitely heating up, and this world will continue to heat up, and it will stay that way until, it'll be the signs of Mark 13:8, where the Lord said these are the birth pain signs, so that we know that those who were left behind are going to see much hotter weather from the sun, intense heat during the tribulation period. Now, when you go to my site, please read all of these scriptures, because you will see in all of these scriptures that there is going to be hail in the last days. We've seen this in the past, judgments by the Lord. You'll see them at my site right here. There's a host of information here that the Lord showed us how he dealt with people in the Old Testament using hail. And I have them marked in red here as you see that. But one of the scriptures I wanted to show you is that it's from Revelation 16:21. And this tells us that in the last days, these huge hailstones will be coming down as part of the plague, and they're going to be 100 pounds. I mean, 100 pounds. One of those things hits you, sorry, your helmet won't work. It will crush you. But this is what's going to happen. And I noticed that over the years, the hailstorms have been increasing, and the size of the hail have been increasing. Now, there's no way that they're 100 pounds yet, but they are getting bigger, and the storms are becoming more frequent. And I would imagine as the earth continues to heat up and change, we're going to see more hailstones, bigger hailstones, and those that are left behind will see the fruition of this prophecy of 100-pound stones. Now, here's one of just the new record. You'll see it. They measured it out here, and this is how big it is. And it says this hailstone was declared the largest on record to hit Hawaii. And if you do do a check on Google records for hail, you'll see that there's a lot of news in the media showing us that these storms and the hail is getting bigger. Now, there was a massive storm just a couple days ago that I posted yesterday, and it showed 6 inches of hail. They never seen anything like that before, so if you didn't see that, scroll down after this 27th day of posting, go to the 26th, and you can see that information there. Now, here's a quick overview of my ministry. When you get to my site, just scroll down, you'll see what's happening. There's a couple things that you can pray for, and I would really appreciate those prayers. I have people that are working underground in different parts of the country, different nations, and because I can't give their name to protect them, and what they're doing is they're producing my books. They're giving them out for free under my anybody who wanted to join my ministry. One of the things that I told them, if you're going to do this, you're to sign paperwork stating that you will do this for free, that you will not charge anyone. And if I ever catch anybody that violates that, of course, I will have to take measures to stop that. But all of the people who joined are loving the Lord. They're beautiful people. They're doing the work of the Lord, and they're producing these books and handing them out, and it's such a blessing. And so here's one of the emails that I got from one of the people working under one of the countries, that it's very dangerous to be spreading Christianity, and for this reason I wanted to protect their name. But you can read this information and please pray over it. So thank you for allowing me again to come into your homes and to keep you informed about Bible prophecy and current events. And may the Lord encourage you today to receive Him as your Savior. Don't wait, please. Don't wait. God loves you, and He wants you home in His kingdom, but you can't go there unless you receive Christ as your personal Savior.